Very good place to start. We, the awesome class of 2011, first started school way back in 1999. Back when the church was our gym, the gym was our car park, the car park was a playground, the science wing was our library, the library was our music room, the oval was real, grassless, but it was still real nonetheless, and the year sevens, half of them weren't even born yet. So, it's been a really fun and long 12 years in Waverley. But now it seems that it's ending far more quickly than I could have thought. Since this is our last chapel with you guys, we're going to let you guys in on our story. The story on why we are an awfully amazing year level. We as a year level believe that we have left Waverley Christian College with a lasting impression, but we can't deny that it's also left an impression on us. It all started back in year one chapel, at this very building, where we were first introduced to a brightly coloured clown named Rainbow, and her talking worm, Larry. Pretty much at that age, they were the funniest beings we had ever met. We always had a sneaking suspicion that it was Mrs. Newhook, but we could never prove it. Because it wasn't actually her. Yeah. The next couple years, they all just kind of blurred together. But it was around year 3 where we began to notice a growing trend in our chapel services. Whenever we were about to be dismissed, our wonderful principal, Mr. Sheehan, would make his way to the stage and say the one word we all knew was coming. Tremendous. Sorry, Mr. Sheehan. In 2003, we were in year 4. And nothing was more important at this time than acquiring the almighty pen license. We would work for weeks just to make sure our cursive handwriting was perfect, just to please Mrs. Jones and Mr. Hooper. But some of the best memories of that year would have to be all the fun stuff Mrs. Jones did. Whether it be doing our times tables while actually standing on our tables, or tediously cleaning the carpet with nothing but our rulers. Nothing could beat her awesome dress-ups. I'll never forget that one assembly where she came in a massive chicken costume and she led us in the chicken dance for about 15 minutes straight. This brings us to year 5, where our impact on Waverley began. The chaos first started when Mr. Baird smelled what he thought was a gas leak. The entire primary wing had to be evacuated. Turns out, it was just some durian that Jonathan Canewall over there had brought. All was fine until a few weeks later, when we had a real gas leak. Everyone just assumed it was John Canewall. That was awkward. Very awkward. Almost as awkward as when the magpie got stuck in the hallway, and Mr. Baird had to chase it out, yelling and flailing his arms. Just one more funny story he can add to his collection, along with the shop, his jokes, and his always good sad birthday song, where you're not allowed to smile when he sings it. In year 6, we were the cool kids. We were the top of the food chain. But then our eyes were opened. Well, you know, sort of Asian eyes. Anyway, it's around this time that us guys, we all realized something. Our year level was predominantly Asian. From that point on, any kind of game or event, race or sport we played, we only played it one way. Asians take on. This left those kinds of games, anything with teams really, just to be a bit unfair. Usually the teams were around 30 to 4. This went on for a few years, but with a flood of new people in year 7, the teams balanced it out a bit. The transition from primary to secondary school was quite easy considering the size of our year level and the amount of friends we had around us. But while at this time we celebrate our completion, we pause to remember Olivia Tate, the friend who couldn't finish with us. Her joyous spirit, faith, and compassion will continue to inspire us forever. For our whole primary lives, we waited to receive the long-awaited secondary diary. But as usual, things don't work out so well for us. Because as we joined Year 7, the rules all changed, and the primaries had the same diary as us. That year flew by as we were now the noobs. Boolie tried to teach us how to rap, and she taught us a bit of karate. Mr. Chapman, wherever you are, over there, rocked up to have swimming in nothing but Speedos. That was a truly terrifying year. As Year 8 flew around the corner, all the boys in our year level were called together by Mrs. Spelling. She had heard about this Asians take on and gave us a long 1-hour speech on how we should stop. We didn't. In fact, we began to live the glory days, back when we played Gladiator on the monkey bars and Squishers and Defenders, a game where one team had to climb up the slide while the others had to push them off. This left us on a bit of a slippery slope, you see, as that year, coincidentally, was the year that the slide broke. I mean, I'm not going to name any names. Josh Kyler! Sorry. A lot of unresolved issues came up that year, but it was mainly between the boys. And what better way to settle these problems than by ramming each other into trees? Mainly Joel Siao. You should remember that. A new game started that year called Capture the Flag. Introduced to us by our PE teachers, Mr. Freer and Mr. Hodge, we managed to spin this non-contact game around. The flag was changed to a person. And to capture that person, you had to tackle them to the ground. To stop someone from getting to your flag, you had to tackle them to the ground. Many teachers tried to stop us from playing such violent games, including a certain careers teacher, but we tried to tackle him to the ground. And all I remember that day was Yong flying through the air. A new game, but after many stern talking to by Mr. Borden, we were forced to stop playing Capture the Flag. So we did what we always do. We threw in a ball and called it by a different name. And that is how Fugby was born. Even to this day, you can see the other year levels playing it on the oval. That is our legacy. The camp to Canberra in Year 9 left us with many good memories. Although rumours of a mysterious person kept us locked in our rooms for quite some time, the teachers began to panic when they noticed one of the girls was not in her cabin and she could not be found. Turns out, Jolene Chia was just in her friend's room, talking away, as girls do. Adding to this heightened sense of hysteria, the teachers thought we might as well learn something out of this whole excursion. And as we were there, we all began to make our way to the lunch hall, for lunch, as you do. But on our way there, a handful of teachers, including Mr. Chalmers and Mr. Freer, began to remove any laptops, keys, phones, and wallets from the unlocked cabins and hid them within their own room. Some students weren't really amused. Anyone who has been on Canberra Camp can tell you it's a lot of fun, but there are some less exciting points. Like sitting in Parliament, although not the most exhilarating experience you can have, as Dexter Who could tell you, do not fall asleep. Poor Dexter had fallen asleep during question time, and because we're all there for each other, we left him. We got up from our stands and moved on, making sure we wouldn't wake the poor boy. It wasn't until a cleaner came by later and jabbed him, poking him awake, and he frantically ran off in search for us. With VCE coming up, Year 10 was a major point in our lives. It was the point where we became more observant, more intelligent, and much more mature. And to quote a brilliant mind of our year level, "How many chin-ups do you think I can do on this locker?" Snap. Then a couple weeks later, "Hey, they fixed the locker, let's see how many chin-ups." No, snap. For the stronger intellectuals, there was mathletics. Yes, we are a wide, proud bunch. But mathletics was a day where the strongest mathletes Waverley had to offer were sent to compete against other schools for the title of math royalty. Our amazing school captain, Jess Singh, wherever she is, Jess Singh, got a bit too carried away during the math relay. She elbowed a girl to the face, knocking her straight to the ground. She didn't even look back. She had her priorities right. The aftermath party can be summed up in one word: nerdy. That year, we had an opportunity to go on an all-boys camp, but there were only around 20 spots available, and we were an all-or-nothing package, so none of us went. The formal was nothing short of awesome. Strobe lights, a DJ, a performance by 3 very, very talented Asians. Yeah. The same awesome guys performed again at the Year 11 social, but this time they had a couple extra members. That social and the trip to Camp Haukwa were some of the best memories of 2010. For those of you who are going on that camp, do the survival course. It is the most fun you will ever have sitting in mud. That brings us to this year, Year 12. I believe that this year, we will leave Waverley Christian College knowing confidently that they will never forget us. I mean, what other year level could get the whole Year 12 kicked out of the common room in the first 4 weeks of school? We can. Who else could get 110 students detention simultaneously? We can. Why is it that we are the only year level without those coveted Year 12 jumpers? Because we are an awful, amazing bunch. And as this year closes to an end, we just want to thank all the teachers for the hard work you've put in the support you've given us, the stress you've handled. To the parents, we just want to say thanks for being there for us. Thanks for all the help you've given us. And most of all, thank you for sending us to the greatest school ever. To all you students out there, I impart you with these words of wisdom. Good luck. But to my fellow Year 12s, I just want to say it's been an amazing 13 years. And if I could be in any other school right now, I'd still choose here, to be with you guys. And even though that this is our last chapel ever, we'll always have that one. Jesus, you're my superhero. And with that, I am done. Thank you. Would you please invite to the stage Sir Lynn, as she has a special announcement to make.